gorgeous ones. Hello, Dr. Lucy here at about 3 minutes past 8. I'm wearing one of my newest aprons under a fairly big jumper because it's cold in my kitchen. I've been in my study all day and I don't heat the whole house when we're not home. So tonight, I do feel like, Uber Eats. Tonight I'll be cooking. Tonight I'm actually cooking a super quick cottage pie with a twist, of course. Again, just to show you that you can get home from work and you can still cook a delicious meal, super easy. And this one, I don't even think involves any chopping. So basically, we'll get started on this because then I've got some, things I love to chat about. As you know, I love a chat. So first thing, as you know, my favorite thing in the whole wide world is pre-chopped frozen onions. Oh, the one thing I do have to chop is some butter. So I'll just quickly grab a knife. You can certainly use olive oil or anything, hello Lee, whatever you like, but just something to cook the onions in. And I like the flavour of butter. If you've got ghee, you can use ghee. There's people have various thoughts on pros and cons of whatever, but yeah, I'm happy with a bit of butter. This one, I do like. It's actually Coles, but it's an all, oh God, I hate the way I can't get the thingy. Hey Sally, hey Louise. Anyway, look, it's just a Coles organic butter. So, what you want to make sure is that you're just buying butter. Hello Jane. What we know is that some of the ones that come in a tub, and I was going to get it out, a lot of the ones that come in a tub that say butter are mixed with canola oil, so you don't want that. Plain old butter for cooking, and then there's Mainland do a whipped butter for spreading. So that's the only one I will use. I don't like, as you know, I certainly don't eat margarine. So, open up this. So basically, this is a super quick, hello Cheryl, super quick cottage pie with a bit of a twist. Love the frozen chopped onions, excellent. Oh, we can see it when you don't hold it up to the camera. Oh, so like that here. Excellent. Right, perfect, good. So, just whack in some onions. Now, I'm doing a double batch, as you know. Aldi organic butter, thank you Kim, is a good one to use as well. Yep, and possibly even a bit cheaper than Coles. I'm sure Safeway for Australians, Safeway, yeah, how old am I? You all know now. Woolies probably do an organic butter brand as well. I have got some Woolies beef here. It's a macro grass-fed Australian minced beef. Where your cattle are free to roam, but as I said, that's actually all a bit of a furphy because in Australia we're lucky, we don't have many feedlots, so hooray. So I'm just going to fling in some minced beef. I'll just let that do its job while we have a bit of a chat about a couple of things. I'll turn that up, let that do its thing. Good, and while that's just cooking away, I'm just going to let that brown a bit. I'm actually going to add in, I've got some Moroccan spicy ones, and I was going to do that. Oh, you've missed my cooking, thanks Nikki. I was going to do that, but instead, I forgot. I bought the new Chipotle, or however you pronounce it. I think it's pronounced Chipotle. It's a mild Mexican. So for families that found the taco one a bit strong, they've brought out this one. So it's still that sort of slightly Mexican-y flavour. And listen to the things in it. It's got garlic and onion. It's got paprika, cumin, some chipotle. But it's also got some salt, some sumac, some pepper, marjoram, and a few lime leaves. So it's actually got quite a big flavour pack. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. So again, I'll just let this do its magical magic. Doing its thing. It's funny, I actually had the mince in the freezer and I took it out. Oh, you like that one, Nikki? That's good to hear. I'd taken my mince out of the freezer and stuck it in the fridge. Oh, I think Sunday. It's actually still a bit frozen. But the great thing about mince is that you can actually cook it from frozen, and it's all right as long as you kind of give it a bash every now and then and make sure that the middle of it's cooked. You know how there's all this thing about you can't cook from frozen mince? Oh, good. Rod's looking forward to having her Chipotle. She had the red curry last night. It is good. It is. It's totally good. And it just makes evening cooking easy. So last night, I was at work at the clinic all day, and I hadn't been there for a week, so it was a super busy day. And I came home actually really knackered, a tiny bit grumpy. And I hadn't prepared my dinner, our dinner. And I just thought, ugh. But you know what? I basically cooked some scrambled eggs. I had some mushrooms, cooked some eggs, added a bit of cheese in, and they're delicious. And that's all I needed. Like, it doesn't always have to be fancy. Sometimes you can just cook something quick. Look, seriously, that would have taken 6 minutes. In fact, Dr. Mary's got a whole collection of 6-minute recipes. Maybe one day we'll put out some crazy, ugly food 6-minute recipe book. So I'm just hacking a little bit into this slightly frozen mince, but it'll be all right. So lots of things have happened. As most of you know, I was away last week and not realising that the place we were going to would pretty much have no internet. So I think if I'd been prepared for that, I would have been a bit better because I would have planned for it. But what had happened was I was expecting to be able to run everything from there. So I had coaching calls booked, I had, Facebook Lives to be doing, and I couldn't do any of it. Lee wants a 6-minute recipe book. Well, it's going to include some scrambled eggs with mushrooms in it because that was 6 minutes. So it was tricky. It was really tricky doing this because two things. One, I also had a lot, and I know, and hopefully you had a read of the blog last week, because I had a lot of plans that I was expecting to do on this holiday, and I did. I had a table set up, I had a chair, there was a beautiful view, typing away, all lovely. But, hi Fee, how are you? But no internet. So I could type and do some stuff, but I couldn't actually get it out to the world. Every now and then, it was one of those things that was almost like a little bit, and I'd get this kind of hope, and then it wouldn't load or anyway, by Wednesday I just gave up on the whole idea. But I did read a good book. I read a really good book, and it's what I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight. And I spoke briefly about it in the live this morning, but my phone died and it was cut off. And the book is called The Useful Belief, and what it is, this is the concept. So our beliefs, which are basically just very ingrained thought patterns, they become our beliefs, and our brain thinks the beliefs are true. But they're not always. So if the brain believes that something's true, then what it does is it looks for evidence to support that belief. It does it all the time. And if you've heard me talk about the Santa belief and how kids believe that that's true, and there's lots of evidence to support it. So this is what is called confirmational bias, and it's our thing that if we believe something is true, then it becomes true, the self-fulfilling prophecy, if you like. If you believe something is going to be hard, chances are it's going to be hard. And the reason for that is that your brain looks for things to confirm that it's hard. If you believe something is going to be easy, or that you're going to be able to achieve it, chances are you will, because again, your brain looks for stories to back that up. So this happens all the time in various weight loss guises. And I'll give you the exact example that one of our beautiful members sent in, saying that she is finding not eating fruit hard. And because she's not eating fruit, her brain is saying if not eating fruit is hard, it finds evidence to support that. So, a person who's doing low carb will say, oh, but you can eat berries. And her brain is saying, yes, but berries are expensive. So there's some evidence, if you like. I don't know why I'm putting out my tea towel. There's some evidence, if you like, that eating fruit is hard because the only fruit you can eat are berries and they're too expensive. It's then, you then see, and when you find something's hard, you see it everywhere. So if she thinks that giving up fruit is hard, she will see fruit everywhere. Everybody suddenly is eating fruit. It's like when you decide you want to have a baby, everybody in the whole universe seems to be pregnant or pushing a pram. This is actually part of our brain, and it's called the reticular activating system, or the RAS, and it's very useful, but it's the part of our brain that is responsible for the way we filter information. So a little bit like our kaleidoscope, if you like. So again, people see things differently to other people based on their underlying beliefs. Now, if we make the assumption that what you believe is not necessarily true, that's the biggest leap I think people have trouble with, because they believe it to be true, and they believe their thoughts are true, but they're not. So what I want you to think about, I'm just bashing up this mince again. This would probably have cooked a bit faster if it wasn't actually frozen from the start, but anyway. So if we sit with the premise, not everything we believe. Hey Tina, all the way from UKing or Canadaing tonight. If we sit with the premise that not everything in our brain is true, not every single one of our beliefs are true, and we say to ourselves, all right, let's decide the truth of a belief. We're not going to worry about that. What we're going to decide is what is the most useful belief for my situation. So, in this particular case, the most useful belief is I don't miss fruit, or fruit's not helpful to me. And because sometimes what happens, again, the thing that is making it hard is people believe fruit to be healthy. Everybody says fruit is healthy, and we've been basically given carte blanche, if you like, to eat as much fruit as you like. And again, you know, I bang on a lot about smoothies, and I will bang on about particularly Boost juice, because they advertise these giant things and they talk about how much fruit is in it. And there's 20 pieces of fruit, and somehow that's healthy. It's just not healthy to eat that much fruit. But that's what our brain thinks. All fruit is healthy. So again, if you're insulin resistant and you've got fatty liver, then fruit is not helpful to you. So that can become your belief. Lots of fruit is not helpful. You might have a little bit of trouble sort of just believing that at first. But again, countering your old belief that you can have as much fruit as you like, lots of fruit's not helpful, it makes it really easy then. Okay? It's like my belief that sugar is harmful. I totally, absolutely say that to myself all the time. Sugar is harmful. I can actually find, we need to train our minds. Easier said than done, but it can be done. So much sugar in most fruit. It absolutely can be done, but like everything, Rome wasn't built in a day, and these thought patterns that you've had, they've been there for years and years. So this is where you be kind to yourself and you go, well, it is going to take a little bit of time to change that, but I can do it. You have to be very active about the process. If you just hope that your mind's going to change, it won't. That's what people don't get. It won't change if you don't actively change it. Just lying around hoping that you no longer want to eat fruit, that won't help. Lying around hoping that you no longer are interested in biscuits, that won't help. It's a really active process, and constantly reminding your mind about what your bigger goals are. Cheryl's written, you missed your plums and your apricots. And Nikki's written, actually struggling extra carbs before surgery because she's so effectively changed her mind that sugar, and then I can't read the rest of it. So I really think that coming to the idea, and again, you get to choose your thoughts because you're the boss of you. So your question to yourself is, what is the most helpful belief I can have here? What is the thing that I can do that is going to be the most helpful to me? Because once you start that changing that belief, you will see it everywhere. So I believe sugar is harmful. I see evidence for that everywhere. What's the solution for extreme stress and anxiety? Oh, Sue, that's a big question to ask without any background information. But again, stress is our body's physiological response to feeling threatened. It is our fight and flight response. We can soothe our body by managing that physiological response, but we also can talk to our mind about why does it feel threatened. And this is the exact example of something that you believe. If you believe you're under threat, okay, and that might be because there's, dickheads at work annoying you. It might be because somebody's cut you off in front. If you believe you're under threat, you will find evidence for it. It's like when people find it and they find that they're getting, I do this all the time. I find I'm snitchety and I'm getting into fights. When I say fights, I'm not brawling, but I'm irritable. I'm looking. And it's because I feel I'm under threat and my brain is looking for evidence to confirm that. And it'll say, see, you are. That person just cut you off. Or see, you are. That person didn't serve you in the queue. They served the other person. Or see, you are. That person in the shopping line just barged their trolley in front of you. How very dare they? So our brain looks for confirmation of what its thoughts are. It's kind of weird, but very useful to know it. Right. So I've not done any heroics in the kitchen so far. I've basically cooked some mince. I'm going to throw this Chipotle spice in. I've got in a kilo of mince. Now, I have found in the past, so if I was using the taco, I would just use one packet, but because this is a lighter flavour, that smells nice, a bit smoky, I'm going to put in the 2. I also have a box of mushrooms that probably should have been used up about a week ago, but they still seem to be okay, so they'll go in. I'm actually putting in a bit of salt. Now remember, the salt I use, stress because of vision left with 10%. Yeah, so again, so this is made local, well, when I say local, Australian-made salt from an ancient lake, so I'm just going to pop a bit of that in. One of the things that's really important, particularly in managing stress, and this happens for everybody, is working out what can you change. What in your life can you change and what can't you change? If there is something that you can't change, there's nothing that you can do to change it, then accepting it is actually the first step. So, this is lots of things. This is when people get upset about the weather, they get upset about, impairment of some sort, they get upset because they have to work hard, or not work hard, but, their boss has given them a long shift or something like that. So I've put in a big thing of mushrooms. I reckon about half a thing of this passata, so 500 grams of passata. And if you're in America, passata is just like pureed tomatoes. You could easily use chopped tomatoes in there as well if you wanted to, or crushed tomatoes. And then my favourite thing to add in from time to time is frozen peas. Now, if you're a purist, let's pop these in first. A lot of purists on a strictly keto style diet would be turning in their grave. But I can tell you now, the obesity crisis is not due to peas. It is not. So I like peas. I hate frozen corn, but I like that. I don't really like frozen carrots, they're too watery, but I find a pea is perfectly fine. So a couple of things therefore is, I guess, to go back to our thought on a situation. If you can't change it, what is the most helpful or useful belief that I can do right now? Because once you start reaffirming that, you will find that belief pops up everywhere, your confirmation of truth. So the belief that, you know, the weather is terrible and there's nothing I can do about it and I'm sick of it and it's ruined my whole day. I may have had that last week. Once I accepted, well, the weather is the weather. I can't change it. All I can do is make. It's that concept of making the most of the situation. That again is not to deny your feelings about it. You are allowed to feel upset about it. But railing against something that you can't change doesn't help you. Does not help you. So railing against the weather is unhelpful. Railing against a plane that is late is unhelpful. Railing against, now this is different to, you know, railing against human rights and stuff like that, okay? That's different. That's a different sort of kettle of fish. I'm just talking about your everyday, day-to-day living of things that make you stressed and angry and cross, and then that gets you upset and makes you want to eat. Think about it. What is the most useful thing I can do here? I'll give you another example. Say you have to go to a meeting at work. You don't want to go to the meeting. You've got a whole lot of other things to do. The meeting is going to be boring. It's going to be a waste of your time. If you go in and that's what you think, that's exactly what will happen. If you go into this meeting and you go, oh, I would rather have, you know, there's about a million other things I need to do, but given I have to go, given I can't change the situation, what is the most useful thing I can do in this situation? So therefore, the thing might be, well, I am going to keep an open mind and absorb, maybe there is a little bit of information in here, a pearl of wisdom that is going to be really useful to me, and I will be able to find it. If you go in thinking that, you will find it, because that's what our reticular activating system is. Remember the idea that I was saying that once you decide you want to be pregnant, you see pregnant people everywhere. Once you decide you want to buy a red car, you see red cars everywhere. Once you decide a meeting is going to have some benefit to you, you will find that benefit. If you go in thinking it's going to be terrible, it will be. Just is. It's how our brain works. So there you go. That's basically, so I read all that in a book, and it was good. Again, it's stuff I already knew. It's stuff we learn in uni about behavioural change. It's stuff I know about reticular activating systems. It is always good to revisit even information that you know, because what it does is it brings it back to the forefront. It's like I've got, you know, we've all got this big book, this encyclopedia of knowledge in our brain, but every now and then, if you don't open the page, you forget about it. So opening the page is such, the book was called The Useful Belief. And interestingly, it was sent to me by my business coach 18 months ago. It's just a tiny little book. It took not very long to read it all. But I just had never made the time to read it. And because I was stuck on an island with no internet and terrible weather, I had to go. What can I do in this particular time? The most useful thing I can do is read some of these books I brought with me. It was so helpful. And again, it was just sort of, I loved the idea that, I'm actually, you know, living what I'm learning here. So anyway, here comes my giant cottage pie is looking very, very hearty. Again, I don't know if you can see from here. It's got a beautiful bit of colour. It's got some mushrooms. It's got the frozen peas and haven't been cooked within an inch of their life. And the other thing I have done is microwave some cauliflower. So you know, again, I should decided maybe I should buy shares in frozen vegetables. I buy frozen cauliflower and I basically just popped it into the microwave. I'm just going to hopefully get this. I need an extra, and I'm just going to, I could put it, I've got a thermo. I could easily do it in the thermi. It would work pretty well. But I just thought I'll just blitz it in this thing. It's noisy. I'll see how it goes. I figure you don't really want to stand here watching me puree cauliflower. It's not that exciting. So what I did, it was being microwaved, I had the lid on it and I poured and I melted some butter over it. And in fact, what I'm going to do, again, just reminded me, put my very fancy salt in. What have I done with it? So again, you know, because I don't eat any salt, I mean, I don't eat, you know, very many processed products, probably none. The beauty is you need salt, you really do. And if you're eating real food, you're allowed to add salt, and, you know, your cardiologist isn't going to have a heart attack. Oh, I forgot to show you these, darlings. So, you know, fancy cup of tea. Have a look at this for cuteness. This is holding my tea. It's actually a dugong, and it's made of silicone, and you put the tea in it. But the other name for a dugong is a manatee, or they're calling this one a manatee. A manatee. So anyway, that just cheered me up. I thought that was a little cutie. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this off later. I'll go and pop it in the oven. I'll take a photo. That's dinner done. Seriously, it'll be in the oven. It'll be on our plates in 15 minutes. Valverde Rustica. Yes, Valverde. This is unfortunately not the Rustica. This is the smooth. I much prefer the Rustica. But as I said, if you can't find passata, you could certainly do chopped tomatoes or crushed. But just make sure you add some salt into them. I know, how cute is it, Genesia? I know. I just thought, again, this is part of, you know, I like to make myself have a bit of joy, a bit of fun. And if buying fancy little tea holders cheers up my tea, then I'm going to do that, because that's good for me. That's a useful belief. As opposed to thinking, wow, what can I do for fun? I'm going to have a block of Cadbury's. That's not useful. Ooh, I nearly forgot. Our members this month are currently doing a course called How to End Nighttime Eating. And it's for after dinner eating, snacking, all that sort of stuff. So that seems to be a lot of people's problems. They have their dinner, then they hop onto the couch and their brain's calling to them for ice cream out of the freezer, or, you know, bickies out of the cupboard. If you want to do the course, it's available. And we have a special introductory price of $47. It will go up, obviously. This is just a 2-week intro offer. And the link is actually at the top of the notes for tonight's thing. I was organised ahead of time. There'll be another link in the newsletter and stuff like that. And that's actually what our podcast was about. So, you know, it's all about stopping the nighttime eating, bringing fun into your life, and changing the way your brain thinks, because that's what it's all about, lovelies. All right, beautiful. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will see you all in the morning. Bye, darlings.